Hi everyone, it's KFK's Creative Home. Welcome back to my channel. Well, today we're going to be making a patriotic wreath using 10-inch mesh, and here's a list of the supplies you will need. You're going to need a 14-inch working wreath frame or a plain wreath frame and add 18 pipe cleaners to it, 10 on the outer round and 8 on the inner round. And if you don't know how to do that, there's a link in the description showing the video I did to show how you make a working wreath frame. And then you're going to need a roll of red Deco mesh, a roll of white mesh, and a roll of blue mesh. But from the blue mesh, you're only going to need 8 feet. The other rolls are the normal 10-inch wide and 30 feet long mesh. You won't use all of that either, but that's the length you will be buying. And then you're going to need 4 different ribbons, and from those 4, do make your tails, and they will be, you'll need a little over 9 feet of ribbon for that. I'm sorry, a little over 8 feet, so you need to buy 9 feet. And then you'll see I have some contrasting blue and white ribbon that I use in one area of this wreath, and for that you will need 10 feet. So what I'm doing here is I have cut 20-inch lengths of mesh in blue, and I am doing the gather method. First I turned the first end under, gathered it down the center, and made sure that the final end was turned under. And I'm going to do that 4 times. Do you see how that's folded under to start with? And then you gather it up, coming on down the center here, making sure, oops, came in a little too fast to be turned under. I just need it turned under at the very end. There we go. So we're going to gather that up, and I tend to clamp it at the bottom, so when I'm ready to put it on, I can grab it right at the top. So right now I'm pointing out how you can see that it's turned under a little bit, and where it's turned under, that will be facing down on your wreath. Okay, let me finish this up. This last one, I guess I'll walk through it again. Turning it under on one side, gathering it straight down the center. And it's easy with this because you can just use the lines that's in the mesh if you have that type of mesh. And then gathering and make sure that final end is turned under. Oh, grab that, yep. And give it a clamp and set that aside. So the next thing I'm going to need are 10-inch rolls, and I need 8 of them. So I'm just going through here, and you see I measured out the 20, and then I'm going to cut at the 10-inch point and at the 0 point. Get myself 2 of them at a time, and I'm going to cut 8 of those total. And then what I'm going to do is just simply put them in a little bit of a roll, and I'm going to show you right here where I take it and just gently roll it. Make sure it's a nice fat roll, and that last piece is where I rolled it is going to be on the bottom. Then right down the center, I gather it again, kind of lay them together across each other to make like an X, and clamp them so I'm ready to add them to my wreath. Again, roll and clamp, and I decided to put them together later, but roll and clamp, and make sure the open edge is at the bottom. So I'm going to cut a few more, and then I'll be right back. Alright, I'm going to speed up this section again because I'm doing simply the same method again that I did with the blue. I am cutting 20-inch pieces first of all, and I'm going to cut 7 of those. And this is going to be used to go around my wreath frame. Since this is patriotic, I'm going to do a lot of red and white, and then one section of it is going to be the blue and white, the same way you have on the flag. Alright, so I'm going to cut my 7 pieces. Fold under the first end, gather down the center, just like I did with the blue, and make sure that last end is curled under. You can see there that it was definitely curled under, and then put a clamp on it, and I'm going to just do that for all 7 pieces and toss them down there in my little bucket I showed you earlier in the video. I had a little bucket sitting there, or bin, or whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to gather these up and get them in there. Alright, I'll be right back again. All right, my workspace is getting a little crowded. So what I've done is mark the area where I want to put the blue and white, and it's in just one, I call them a quadrant, where you have between the crossbars. I've got 4 in that area where I have the clamp. So I'm going to use that area to be my blue and white right there I'm pointing to. So what I'm going to do is for each of those little pipe cleaners there, and that just in that one little section, because they're going to all be together, I'm going to add a blue as my base and then the white rolls on top of that. So go in again, make sure that curled edge is down, and as you see here, I had actually had it turned up, had to flip it. So now the curled edge is down, and I'm adding 2 of the rolls right on top of that, so I get a blue and white effect right in this one little corner of my wreath frame. So I'm going to do that 4 more times, and then I'm going to be back for the next thing. And like I said, I'm just doing this right now because I was running out of space. I didn't have another little bin to put stuff in, or there's no more space on my table here. I've got rolls of ribbon everywhere that you can't see on the table. So anyway, let me finish getting these in, and I'll be right back. Alright, so now I have a little more space to work with, and I've got an empty bin there sitting on the floor. I'm going to cut ribbon at 16 inches. All these different lengths. I'm sorry, not ribbon, mesh. We're going to cut mesh at 16 inches. I'm going to give it a roll on one side, flip it over, give it a roll on the other side till they meet in the middle. And I was trying to figure out how far it roll be to make sure they just meet in the middle. And you have about the same size roll on each side. And then you can see I kind of get the same effect I had before with the 2 rolls I would cross, except that they're joined together. But when you look at the wreath, you're still going to see 2 rolls. So excuse my little chime in the background. So I'm going to do that again, and I need 7 of these. So I'm going to cut 16 inches, and then I'm going to take my time rolling it together on each end and then scrunching it down the middle. Okay, let's get that done. I'll be right back. Alright, now we're ready to work with our red mesh. And my red mesh is only an 18-foot roll, so you can disregard the fact when I get later I have to go to a second roll, because yours will be the 30-foot roll. I'm just trying to use up some mesh I have in my supplies that I got at a discount. This one wasn't the best mesh ever, so I won't be getting this again. This happened to be a Walmart clearance after Christmas, so I think I'll steer away from Walmart mesh, but it'll work for this one because most of it will be placed on a wreath in a way that I don't have to worry about fraying. Okay, so again, I need 7 cut at 20 inches, and then I'm going to need 7 cut at 16 inches. And we're going to do the same gathered method for the 20 inches, and we're going to do the same rolled method for the 16 inches. Okay, so we have all our mesh prepared now, and I'm going to start adding the red and white. So I added a gathered red piece and then put the white rolls on top of that. Then next to it, I'm going to do a white gathered piece and put red rolls on top of that. And I'm just going to alternate going around my wreath frame. So I'm doing the inner ring first, red gathered piece, white rolls on top, and then a white gathered piece, that was the 20-inch piece, and then the rolled piece on top. Again, red gathered with white rolls on top, and then fitting in here lastly a white gathered piece, and we're going to put red rolls on top of that. And I just give it a couple twists because we're going to add more on top of this. We're going to come back and still add ribbons later. All right, now I got to work my way around the outer frame, and you won't be able to see basically just because of how the camera is. So I'm going to do that and finish that up and come back. It's the same method. I started with white with red rolls, and now I'm putting red mesh, and I'm going to add white rolls on top of that. Go back again, white mesh with red rolls, and just keep alternating until I've finished. Alright, if you're enjoying the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. That really helps my channel to grow. And if you're not a family member, please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell so you can be notified when new videos are released. I appreciate all of our new family members. I thank you for joining us. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section. I try my best to help out as best I can. Alright, let me finish this last little bit, and then we're going to add some really nice ribbon tails to this. Be right back. So the next thing I've done here is cutting some 14-inch tails for the blue and white section of my wreath. I have cut 2 pieces at 14 inches. I have dovetailed both the ends. I am folding it in half. And then I'm going to place these 2 together because on this section it's only going to be blue and white. I'm not going to use a contrasting ribbon. So again, I'm going to cut, I need 6 more, so I cutting 2 at a time here. 14-inch lengths, dovetail both ends, and then I'm placing them together and folding it in half. So I got to do that 2 more times. Fold it in half here to measure out the 14 inches, and then I'm clipping it. And I'm going to dovetail both ends, snip that in, and even on the folded end I'm snipping it, and then whoops, usually you get it totally cut and separated, but I still had a corner joined in for that one. I had to snip. So I measured out 14 inches, I folded it in half so that I get another 14-inch length there, cut it, then I'm going to fold it and snip away these dovetailed ends and put them together, fold it in half, and I have all the blue and white ribbon I need. So the next thing I'm going to do is the same with this red, I call it Starburst, but it's actually fireworks. It's so pretty. I love this. I think this is my favorite patriotic ribbon from Sam's Club this year. So this time I'm doing 14 inches, but I'm doing it in like I call an accordion style fold, just going back and forth now at 14 inches. And I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to dovetail all my ends. And then once I get that done, I have 3 more ribbons to go. It will be the same method, cutting them at 14 inches and dovetailing the ends. And then I'll be, putting them together, matching them up for the way that I want them to go on my wreath. Okay, let's get these things cut and ready to roll. Again, for each of my tails, I need 7 pieces. So now I'm doing the white. I am measuring out 14 inches and dovetailing the end. And then I'm going to do some red, measure 14 inches, dovetail the end. And then I have some red, white, and blue. Checked ribbon, I am going to measure that out to 14 inches and dovetail the ends. So now I'm going to take my red ribbon, fold it in half so I know where the center point is. And then I'm going to take my red, white, and blue checked ribbon and do the same. And then I'm going to combine them together so that they'll be prepared to add to the wreath. Now I'm folding my white ribbon in half so I'll know the center. And then the red fireworks ribbon. And I am combining them together so they'll be prepared to go on the wreath. Now I'm ready to start adding my ribbon tails. And you can see I've slowed the video down so you can see what I'm doing. So I start by crossing my ribbon slightly, and that'll help it to be crossed already when I add it into the wreath. So trying to move it out the way here so you can see. And I'm trying to get my cross right, because when you cross it, you don't want to move it so much that you lose your center point for each of the ribbons. Now in my blue and white section, this is where I'm putting my blue and white tails. So just open up a section where I have my pipe cleaners, add it in, tighten it up really nice and tight, and then give it a few more twists here. Taking my time, and then I'm going to snip it. I'm using scissors this time, but later you'll see I'll snip to my wire cutters because I think my scissors have seen better days now. Then I take that exposed end of wire and tuck it into the wreath, and then I kind of curl my ribbon tails here so that they'll kind of curve to the shape of the wreath, and separate them out nicely. Okay, I'm going to do that 3 more times in this blue and white section. So again, we just cross the tails and we gather it in the center, add it into our pipe cleaner, give it a twist, clip off the ends, and make sure that piece of wire is tucked in, and then kind of shape up our tails. So I've got that done. This last one here, just snipped it, and I'm tucking in those wires and shaping. Okay, now we're moving on to add our tails to the red and white section. Everywhere there are red rolls on top, I think the first one I have here, the red rolls on top, I'm going to use the firecracker ribbon. Everywhere there are white rolls on top, I'm going to use this red, white, and blue. I did it this way because where there are white rolls on top, I did not want the firecracker and the white ribbon. I thought they would just be too much white together. So red, white, and blue with the red ribbon is going where there is a white roll on top. So same method. Open up your pipe cleaners are already open, but added the ribbon tails right at the center. Make sure it gets caught in those pipe cleaners. Give them a few more twists, because this is your final twist to hold everything in. I snip off the extra and tuck the end in, and then I'm going to just shape out my tails here. Now because this one is right next to the blue and white, and the blue and white doesn't have a huge area, I'm going to make sure that the blue and white ribbon is on top, because I want to see as much blue and white as possible, because we only got 4 pipe cleaners where we're going to have blue and white. So this other side I kind of shaped a little bit, but I know when I put in my next set of tails I'm going to mess that up again. So sometimes I don't even shape it until I get the next set of tails in. So the next one, I have the red roll on top, so now I'm going to do the red firecrackers with the white ribbon. So again, give it a little bit of a cross shape here, and I should start X shape, I'm sorry, I cross them a little bit. Gather it in the center and add that center right into my pipe cleaner. This white ribbon was interesting to work with on this particular wreath. I've worked with it before and didn't have this issue, but for some reason a couple times it got caught on the mesh, and I guess it's the quality of the mesh I'm working with, and it tried to snag my ribbon. I mean, like right in the center of the ribbon, not the frayed edges. So I had to be careful about pulling it off of the mesh. Make sure you do that gently. Sometimes this ribbon is tough enough you can just pull it, but this time I had to be a little more gentle, especially with the white. And then once I've got it attached and got the end of that wire tucked in, again it's just shaping the ribbon, giving it a nice X shape on your wreath. Alright, so now we're going to alternate again. Each time we just go back and forth with the ribbon we choose, making sure that this red, white, and blue check is where there's a red roll mesh on top, and then my other ribbon goes where there's a I'm sorry red, white, and blue check goes where there's a white roll on top. Make sure I got that right, so that there's no white ribbon on top of a white roll. There we go. And then the other one goes on top of the red rolls. So I'm going to finish adding these in here, and we'll be right back. All right, we've got all of our tails attached. I'm going to do a little more snipping where I see some frays and shaping of the tails. And we are nearing, kind of getting close here. So what I'm going to do here is, of course, share some pictures with you of the final product. And I'm not going to add a big bow to this because I think it's got plenty going on already. But I'm going to share some final pictures with you. And I just want to thank you for spending this time with me. And I'll be talking with you again when? Real soon.